Is it really useful to save your receipts to save on taxes? What happens when you report less profit than you actually made? Filing your tax return as a business owner is a serious business. And today I will be sharing with you 8 mistakes that most new business owners or freelancers make while reporting their income from business or profession in their ITR. So without further ado, let's begin. Hey there, welcome back to the Sonia Davar Show. I'm your host Sonia Davar, Chartered Accountant and Business Finance Coach, and on this channel we share with you all the tips, tools and resources you need to start and grow your profitable business, save lakhs of rupees on taxes and build your own wealth. By the end of this episode, you will know what mistakes to avoid when you are filing your income from business or profession in your ITR. Before sharing any mistakes, I want to start by sharing a quote with you. You can't tax business. Businesses don't pay taxes, it collects taxes. With this, it's always good to learn from the mistakes that other people make. When it comes to filing income from your business, here's what not to do. The first mistake that many small business owners make while filing their ITR is not declaring their directorships in a company. Yes, if you are a director in a company, regardless of whether the company is a listed company or an unlisted company, or the company is a domestic company or a foreign company, you have to declare it. And you are not allowed to file the simple ITR forms like Sahaj or Sugam, that's ITR 1 and ITR 4. In this case, you must file either ITR 2 or ITR 3 depending on which income you have to report in your ITR. If you don't know how to choose the right ITR form, I have a separate video and the link of that video is in the description below. So after watching this video, you can go ahead and check out the video on how to choose the right ITR form in your case. And while filing your ITR, you must mention your director identification number, your permanent account number, the entities in which you are a director, and the equities that you are holding in those companies. The purpose of this is to check routing of black money and to reduce the number of shell companies. Shell companies are the companies which exist only on papers and have no office and no employee, but may have a bank account, assets or passive investments. Generally, while making these shell companies, people have usually used their drivers or a watchman in the past to become a director, where they do not know about that they were actually the directors in those companies. And hence, Income Tax Department has made it mandatory for every company to provide the details of their directors and every director to provide the details of the companies in which they are a director while filing your individual ITRs. So if you are one, you know that you cannot avoid sharing this information in your ITR. With this, the second mistake is also very closely linked to the directorship, and that is not declaring that you own shares in an unlisted company. So if you own any shares in any unlisted company, this could even be a private company, one-person company, or even a public company which is not listed on any stock exchange, regardless of whether the company is a domestic company or a foreign company, you need to declare those shareholdings and are not allowed to file ITRs like Sahaj or Sugam, just like how it was applicable if you were also a director in any company. And for your shareholdings, you will also need to disclose information like your acquisition cost of those shares, the sale consideration, the date of sale and the date of purchase of such share by you at any time during the financial year. So even if you don't hold the shares at the end of the financial year, but during the year you have bought the shares and you have transferred those shares to somebody else, still you will need to disclose these information in your ITR. Similarly, if you are an unlisted company, you will need to disclose the names of all the shareholders and the prices at which the shares have been allotted to them, and this will be matched by the individual returns of the shareholders that has been filed. So if you are thinking that by not providing this information you can get away, you cannot, because the IT department already would have this information when your company in which you hold these shares files their ITR and mentions your name as one of the shareholders in those unlisted companies. With this, let's move on to the third mistake that many business owners or freelancers make, and that is not reconciling your income reported as per your profit and loss account or your financials with your income or turnover reported as per your GST return. Just like how you provide your GST return, you need to file a reconciliation of the turnover that you have filed as per your GST return and with what you have declared in your financials. You have to provide the same reconciliation, or at least keep the reconciliation when you file your income tax return, because if you don't match these two turnovers, you are surely going to get a notice in the future years by income tax department saying that the turnover that you have declared as per GST does not match with the turnover that you have declared as per income tax return. And because the timing of these two returns are not the same, if you don't reconcile these turnover before filing your ITR, you will have to revise your ITR when you find out that there are some differences at a later point of time when you could be doing this reconciliation for filing your GST returns. So if you are registered under GST, make sure that you or your accountant or your team does this reconciliation between the turnover as per financials and the turnover as per GST return. And again, on the same lines, the fourth mistake that many new business owners or freelancers make while filing their ITR with income from business or profession is not reconciling their income or their turnover with what has been reflected in their Form 26AS. So all the turnover or the sales that you have recorded in your financials on which TDS has been deducted and paid to the government, your vendors would have filed their TDS return, and the TDS amount with the income would be reflecting in your Form 26AS, which you can match with your financials. Because of the time on which the tax has been deducted, there might be mismatch that the income that you have considered in current year's financial year is not reflecting in your Form 26AS or vice versa. And if you don't reconcile it and you file your ITR where your turnover does not match with your turnover as per Form 26AS, you are again surely going to get a notice from income tax department saying that you have not disclosed 100% of your income and the return that you have filed is either defective or invalid. In such a case, it's very vital that you do this reconciliation beforehand, and if there is any excess turnover that you have recorded in your financial year which is not reflecting in your Form 26AS, you can get to decide whether that turnover is pertaining to this financial year or you want to carry forward the TDS to the next financial year so that your turnover matches with your Form 26AS. Many a times, if you have not recorded that income but that income is reflecting in your Form 26AS, and if you have not reported that income in your ITR, that is again a short way of getting a notice from income tax department about concealment of income. So do the reconciliation before we move on to the next point. The fifth most common mistake that many new business owners and freelancers make is not declaring numbers as per your balance sheet and profit and loss account, even if you're filing your ITR under presumptive basis. If you're filing your ITR under presumptive scheme of taxation, you are required to disclose at least 4 numbers of your balance sheet, and you're also required to report your correct turnover number and your correct expenses to make sure that your actual profit is higher than the presumptive profit that has been declared in the presumptive scheme of taxation. Now, these 4 information that you need to provide in the balance sheet are your creditors, your inventory, your debtors, and your cash in bank. Even if presumptive scheme of taxation allows you to not maintain your books of account and report your income based on the presumptive basis, while you have to only report your turnover numbers and apply the presumptive rates to arrive at the income that is taxable for your business or profession. Income tax department is actually collecting the information that they can use to draw your books of account and then come to know whether the income that you have declared is actually your income or not. So by giving the details like your debtors and your creditors and your cash in bank, what they're asking you is how much money have you really received and how much money is really payable on the expenses which you are incurring to earn those income. If you are a freelancer or a new business owner filing your ITR from business under presumptive basis, you need to maintain these numbers and also report these numbers in your ITR when you file your balance sheet, and also make sure that your expenses are also defined and you know what is your actual profit to compare it with the presumptive profit when you disclose those information in your ITR. The next mistake is also very similar to the fifth mistake, and that is not showing your actual profit and loss numbers. So I have seen many freelancers not maintaining or not even bothered about the profits that they are earning from their business, as they know that they are filing for their ITR under presumptive taxation scheme, and that scheme allows them to disclose the percentage that are being declared in those sections, whether you are filing a return under 44AD, which is for business, or you are filing your ITR under section 44ADA, which is for professional. So section 44AD tells that if you are earning your income from business up to a turnover of rupees 2 crore rupees and that income is received via a banking channel, then you can disclose just 6% rupees as your profit and pay taxes on that. But a very important condition in those sections are that the 6% or your actual profit, whichever is higher, should be reported to tax. So these percentages should never be considered as is and be reported directly in your ITR. Because if at the end of the year, if you have a higher cash balance which you have disclosed in your ITR as compared to the expenses that you have shown, then the numbers won't match and you are surely going to get a notice from Income Tax Department. So these presumptive taxation scheme does give you a lot of benefit that you need not maintain your books of account, but if you actually maintain your books of account, you can choose whether you really want to declare your income under these sections, or you can actually choose the normal provisions of the Income Tax Act and file your actual profits. And if you maintain your proper books of account, you will even get to know if you are actually making a profit or not, or if you are making a loss. You can actually report those losses and then carry forward those losses in the future years. If you want to know more about how you can keep track of your numbers, we discuss these things in detail within my membership program, that's Profit to Wealth Accelerator, and I provide with you all the tips, tools and the resources that you need with the templates and the guidelines on how you can maintain those numbers that you need to report, and also how you can organize your tax papers and even prepare for your taxes without having any hassle. So if you are interested, do check the link in the description and consider joining. With this, let's move on to the seventh most common mistake many business owners make when filing their ITR, and that is not disclosing the interest income or income from capital gain after deducting those income from business or profession. So if you have deposited your money in some mutual funds for maintaining the cash, or you have availed the benefit of sweep bank accounts where any excess funds in your current account directly gets converted into an FD, you would be earning certain interest income which is for your business, and it will be taxed under separate head such as income from capital gain or income from other sources. Many a times I have seen in the past that business owners take out these income from their business because business income you have to charge only your income from business or profession, but forgot to disclose these income in their respective heads, such as interest income. You have to disclose it under income from other sources, or any capital gain that you have earned from sale of those mutual funds that you're invested in. You have to disclose those income under income from capital gains. And if you don't disclose these and you have taken out these income from your business and profession, then there will be mismatch and you are surely going to get a notice from the income tax department that your incomes do not match, and hence either your ITR will be considered defective ITR or it will be considered invalid for processing. With this, the eighth and the final mistake that I want to talk about in this episode that many new business owners or freelancers make while filing their income tax return for income from business or their profession is not keeping the receipts or records of actual expenses that they are claiming as deduction from their business income. The bottom line is you cannot claim a tax deduction if you don't have a proof of purchase. A simple entry in your bank account or your credit card statement will not give you the deduction when it comes to an assessing officer assessing the income and expenses that you have shown in your ITR for your business. So it's always a good idea to keep all those receipts safe and scan them as you go for claiming your tax deductions. And as per statutory norms, you are required to keep these records, receipts and documents for a period of 8 years. And because the nature of these receipts are such that they fade away, it's always a good idea to scan them and save them either on a Google Drive, or if you're using any cloud accounting software, you can even save the scanned copies of these receipts along with the entry while posting them. That automatically acts as your receipt management system, and you will never have to worry about after you scan and file the receipt within the entry that you have posted in your accounting application. To know more about this, I highly recommend you to join Accelerator membership, where we discuss in detail about how to do this and what exact process you need to follow to create your receipt management so that you don't lose out any receipts or record from your business. So now you know what information you cannot skip declaring. So ask these 8 questions the next time you are preparing to file your ITR. Make sure to correctly and honestly declare all your income and use the legal ways to save on taxes. Because failing to accurately declare your income or profits can land you in trouble. If you like the value that we've shared with you in this video, don't forget to hit the like button so that the algorithm pushes it out to more people who needs to hear this information. And while you are at it, do subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any awesome information we share with you to keep your financial literacy on check. And go ahead and check the link in the description to check out the Profit to Wealth Accelerator membership, where I talk about legal ways to save lakhs of rupees in detail with all my process and give you all the templates that you need in your business. And I promise you, you won't regret it. With this, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.